Hello everyone, it's currently October 2nd, 2018, and the September 2018 recap has just released from joinsquad.com. And this is a big one. I've gone over it briefly, but there are patch notes for patch 12 in this recap. So patch 12 hopefully coming out within the next 4 weeks. I know I said 3 weeks last month. Apparently it's taking them a little bit longer with that vacation that they took, but my guess now is within the next 4 weeks, we'll see version 12 launch. So we'll jump straight into it. A lot of juicy things here, especially the patch notes for V12. So first things first, as you can see, they're definitely upping up their cinematics game. First things first is they're working on core state. And core state is a general optimization kind of pass that they're doing onto the core system within squad. So it's going to let them hit 100 players, which is something that they've been trying to do since the start of, early access. It's in their Steam description, for God's sakes. So hopefully we'll have 100 player server limits, and they're increasing the performance on the server end for all the servers in general, which means that, less stuttering, less low server health, less netcode issues. So really happy to see a general optimization patch for servers. That's really great and really needed. Next thing is world origin rebasing, which is basically them redoing how your client draws the map and how everything happens when you're looking through scopes and how it's rendering like entire parts of the map right now. This is essentially going to increase the optimization of that and remove that scope jitter that a lot of people have been having. The next thing is the command menu screen. Now, this is a general quality of life pass on the current UI for squad leaders and players. It comes with a whole bunch of new map markers, a whole bunch of new ways you can look at players and see status on current fobs and stuff like that. So, for example, in this picture right here, you can see the fob itself. You can see the fob build radius, and then you can see the extent of the fob exclusion zone, which means you can't put another fob within this area. So a whole bunch of new map markers, Fireteam markers are coming, all that cool stuff, UI and map-wise, that's all coming with this patch. So a lot of cool stuff. Like I said, Fireteam functionality is also being added. You're going to be able to have Fireteams within your squads. They're going to be colored and lettered, and then you can slot in Fireteam leaders for those Fireteams, as well as how many players you want in this Fireteam. So there's a lot more flexibility and control for squad leaders, which is great because it means more teamwork and more tactics and strategies being implemented within the game. So I'm all for this. Once again, if you want to read through any of these all like in totality, you can go check out the link in the description or in the comments, and it'll bring you right to the Join Squad recap. Now, rolling resistance. So driving on certain materials will now alter how your vehicle interacts with them. So, for example, on roads, wood, concrete, anything flat or hard, your vehicle is going to roll much smoother, much faster on these kinds of things, as opposed to mud, snow, and other things, or uphill, or anything like that has a lot of crappy traction. You're not going to be able to roll through. So it's going to really focus putting vehicles on roads now. So you're going to see more convoys on roads. Roads are more, they're actually going to be used. You don't need to necessarily you can't just blaze through the map on the side of a muddy road or through, the rivers, or like on Gordok, the main river in the center. That's no longer going to be able to be used as a highway because of the resistance you're going to get by traction on certain materials on the ground, which is great because now these roads actually have meaning, which means you can set up supply routes, you can set up ambushes, you can set up a lot of cool things with focus on roads rather than just free reign over wherever you can go. And I think it's going to actually draw more firefights over certain areas rather than just, because right now you can go anywhere on the map in any vehicle. It's really hard to catch certain players or certain teams or squads going in certain directions because they can just blaze through whatever. But now you kind of have an idea of which pass they're going to take and where they're going to go with their vehicles because of the restriction of the material on the ground. So really cool to see that. Manual override for the gearbox. Now, I haven't really needed this. I guess this is a nice little thing to have, and it's cool that they're adding it. But what this essentially means is right now in squad, all the transmissions are automatic. So it goes first, second, third, fourth, all the way up, right? So now you can have manual control over what gear you're in, which means if you're going up a hill, you can stick that bitch in first and keep driving it up the hill. Or if you want to stay in touch with your infantry, you can keep it in a lower gear and stay in a smooth rolling fashion rather than just tapping the W or S key repeatedly to keep up with the infantry who's walking. So this is going to help convoys because you're going to be able to keep the vehicles at the right speed as the infantry. This is going to help going up hills. This is going to help a lot of stuff for people who want that manual override. So it's cool that they're adding it. It's not really needed. It's a nice little addition, but, you know, glad to have it. Next thing. The new APC for the Brits is in because the Brits currently only have their Logi and Trans and the Warrior. They're missing that kind of middle APC that all the other factions have, like the Militia and Insurgents have MTLBs, the US have the MRAPs, the Russians have the MTLBs as well. So now the Brits are also getting it. And so this is an older APC, but it has been buffed up to meet current armor standards. So they're going to hopefully add more current, contemporary units in. But right now we're sticking with the FV43 too. So it's cool. It's got a 50 cal on it. It can fit 9 people plus the crew. 2 different camo sets. You got the tan and you got the woodland. So really cool to have. And it's nice because now you don't have to invest in a full warrior if you want to get armored trans for the Brits. You can grab a scrappy APC and get those units into the fight without risking a lot of tickets. So really cool to see. New weapon, the FAL. I love the FAL in other games, like Insurgency. I think it's a great gun. Shoots a 7.62 round. It's a lot of fun to use. I love the iron sights on it. So it's cool to see this addition to the Insurgents and Militia. It's going to be pretty fun to use. I think this is going to be a good contester to a lot of the current other weapons that they have. And I like how the Insurgents and Militia have a variety of weapons rather than a variety of scopes. I think that's really cool because especially when you're going up or when you're playing as US, you really only have the M4s and M16s. Whereas when you play with the Militia and Insurgents, because you don't have those scopes, you get to play with the the PPSH or the M16 and the AKs and a lot of cool stuff. So it's cool that they're adding the FAL. So yeah, as you can see here, got those. I love these iron sights so much. They're just so easy to use. Talil Outskirts going to be added hopefully in V12 as we have a really nice sandstorm kind of demo right here, which I think is really cool. We don't really have too many weather effects in Squad, at least none that change gameplay to a huge extent. The most I can think about is probably like snow a little bit on Balaya, and then night maps. But it's cool that they're adding sandstorms here, hopefully. Or at least a sandstorm variant. So Talil Outskirts looking really fleshed out. Looks beautiful. Yeah. Really looks nice. It's coming along quite nicely. It's going to be a great map because it's kind of like Al Basra, but it's going to be much bigger. You have like these huge open areas of land and then like a city kind of urban area. So I really enjoy Al Basra. I think Al Basra is a great map. So hopefully this plays somewhat like that and that'll be a ton of fun. Now we're getting into the meat of it. The Alpha V12 patch notes. Okay? I'm sure it will come along to more patch notes once they actually release it and they'll add or remove a couple of things. But these are the tentative patch notes. And because they're giving us the patch notes, I'm going to say it's coming within the month. I want to say that. I'm hoping it. I mean, of course, it could take longer, but my guess is 2 to 4 weeks at this point. They're dropping patch notes. So let's get right into it because there's a lot to cover. Random AAS. Oh, thank God. Adds more dynamic gameplay to Squad. Just being able to play on different parts of the map rather than having the same meta on the same maps everywhere. Random AAS is going to be awesome because it's going to add a whole bunch of new places that we can fight over. It's going to make every game feel like you're fighting over a new spot. And I hope it's done correctly because this can add a lot of replayability to the game, which the game desperately needs right now. I mean, I'm going on 2 years of Squad. I've played over pretty much every single layer on every single map. I know all the good spots on every single cap zone. It's like I need randomization in my life to freshen things up. Added new suppression system. You all know I'm raving about this because I feel like in Squad there's no real suppression. And for people to say, oh, you can't really add suppression in a game, I mean, that's not true. I mean, you look at Escape from Tarkov, that game has suppression in there, like, really well. Like, there's really important reasons to have suppression. One is because it increases the longevity of firefights, which means that you get... I talked about this in my other video regarding Vanguard as well. But you have longer firefights, and you have... more intense firefights, which means that you have actual tactics come into play and the firefights don't just end with 2 taps and trading kills, right? Because you actually have the ability to extend that firefight. You have the ability to flank or maneuver and actually have tactics within the game rather than just a straight up COD shooter. They added rifleman ammo bags. This is something that we've been waiting for a while. I hope they give these to both the standard rifleman and the the ACOG marksman, or not the ACOG marksman, but the scoped rifleman as well, just because with the kit balance, there might not be enough people taking these. But everyone's looking for the rifleman ammo bags because it extends the capabilities of your squad. Especially if you're running AT, you can really keep on, hitting armor behind enemy lines and stuff like that. Persistent ammo system. So what this is, if you didn't catch the last recap, is they're adding a system where when you die and you don't resupply at a fob, you keep how many mags or ammo you have. So if you're out on the field and you're far from any resupply, you're eventually going to be running on like half ammo and you're going to be running low on ammo, and you need to come either back to a fob to rearm, or use an rifleman ammo bag to rearm, or use a vehicle to rearm, which means you can't just live off of rallies behind enemy lines or around on the flanks. You still can, but you have limited ammo capabilities. So it's really good because it hits that sweet balance between making fobs more important, as well as allowing individual squads to continue operations behind enemy lines or on the flanks. It doesn't necessarily neuter them completely, but it does emphasize the need for resupply routes for logistics and for the fobs, which I really can get behind. Added granular rearming system for infantry. This goes hand in hand with the persistent ammo because ammo is so much more important. What the granular rearming ammo system does is you can pick exactly what you want to rearm. Maybe you only want one frag rocket. Maybe you want only one smoke grenade. Maybe you want 2 bandages. You can actually granularly pick what you want to resupply. So this is really important to go in hand with the persistent ammo system because ammo is going to become so much more important. Added fire teams, which are dynamically created by squad leaders. We already talked about this. Fire teams are added in V12. You can break them up into, I think, up to 4 fire teams if you want to do buddy teams. And then each fire team, I think, has their own markers and their own comms, I believe. Added localized vehicle damage with 2 components for now, engine and ammo storage. So they're localizing it. They're probably taking the same system for Postscriptum that's kind of localized their damage as well. So now you can damage the engine and ammo storage on certain vehicles, to ignite them or to disable them. Added turret stabilization to appropriate vehicles. This is mostly going to be for the MBTs, I think, which are going to be confirmed added in V12. Added drivers deployed smoke generator for most vehicles. So what this means is you're now going to be able to deploy smoke behind the vehicle as you drive the vehicle forward. So it's great for setting up screens and for covering infantry that's following behind. Added crewman repair toolkit. Take it from Postscriptum once again. I think this is a limited repair on certain vehicles. You're able to bring that vehicle back up to operational capacities, but not to full health. Added Fizmat dependent vehicle rolling resistance. Once again, this is the materials that the vehicle is driving on, whether it be mud or a road. It's going to depend, or it's going to alter how the vehicle acts and interacts with that material. Added manual vehicle override for gearbox. Sticking it in first to get through mud or get over hills or to stick with the infantry. So really cool. Overhauled spawn system including rally point wave spawn and hab spawn overrun. So this is really important. We talked about this in the last recap as well. Rally point wave spawn is going to encourage squads to stay together because when they all die, they're all going to spawn together instead of trickling in one by one off the rally. I think this is great. Once again, taken from I don't think Postscriptum has this actually. I think Hell Let Loose has this. But I think this is great. Hell Let Loose has this, and when you played Hell Let Loose and you died and you respawn, you already felt like you were back with your squad, which is great because right now in squad, people just trickle in on their own timers off the rally. But wave spawns really keep squads together and encourages teamwork. I can really get behind that. Hab spawn overrun. This prevents the meat grinder because as soon as enemies get within radius of the hab, it'll shut the hab down instead of, fighting over and over a building in the middle of nowhere with a hab stuck in it that you can't get in and stop. You can now just block it out by proximity. So really good. Overhauled revive system. Now, in case you didn't catch the last recap again, big overhaul. Everyone can revive now, but only medics can heal you up. Okay, so this is gonna once again, I love all these changes because they're extending firefights, and with the extension of firefights and live time, you're gonna be able to execute more and more tactics and flanks and strategies and maneuvers. So right now, of course, this is gonna take a lot of testing. We haven't tested this at all. I don't know how this is actually gonna act within the game, and how this is gonna impact the current strategies and how players play. But I think this is gonna be great because I don't think it's gonna be too overpowered because everyone's still gonna be limited on bandages. And you're still only going to be able to be healed up by the medic. So, I don't know. This could go either way, but I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic about this change. User interface changes. Added team selection. This is all just quality of life stuff. The command map is really good for squad leaders because it gives us more options, more tools to use to draw on the map and to coordinate across the map. But yeah. Vehicles. This is a big one, guys. All right, so the U.S. gets their tank, Russia gets their tank, British gets their APC. Yeah, there's a lot here. I know there's a lot here. So a lot of cool stuff coming. The main battle tanks are in, and the APCs add for the Brits. So I don't know, dude. I can't wait for these tanks. I really want helicopters, but these tanks are gonna have to just hold me over. So hopefully these tanks, live up to the hype, because everyone's excited for them. But yeah, that'll be awesome. Now, a couple of the weapons that they've gone over a couple recaps ago. The Cornet ATGM is gonna replace this, the current one that they have right now, which they're using the US one, right? The US TOW. It's gonna be replaced with the Cornet. RPG-29 added for the Insurgents. The FAL. This is a really interesting change that they kind of snuck in here. An SKS variant that includes a PU1 3.5 times scope. So, there's going to be, I think instead the SVD, I think militia and insurgents are going to get the SKS with the 3.5. I think that's what it is, unless they're adding a marksman role within the standard rifleman kits with the SKS. Because that would be really interesting. This will, I don't know, I think this is going to like really help a lot with how the insurgent and militia factions interact with the more conventional factions. Mapping. A couple mapping updates. Added Talil outskirts. So Talil outskirts confirmed for V12. Overhauled Jensen's range. This is cool for all you new players and even a couple of you, maybe less experienced players. You're going to have a lot more tools to use in the Jensen's range, which is, I think, always very important because Squad doesn't have a tutorial. Jensen's range is a great tool for new players. Overhauled Yehirivka. So they added a whole bunch of more stuff. They revamped storage site. They increased the side map. The map size. Whoa, what did I just say? The map size they increased. And then they added a whole bunch more stuff on the map because Giho is really empty before, but now they added more villages, more cities, more buildings, more stuff. So it's not as open because before it was like so open. You'd only fight over storage and then like the upper and lower areas, right? But now apparently they've added more. So cool. Overhauled Belaya, reworked terrain, now less snow and more ground cover. Good, more ground cover. That's what Squad needs. More fucking ground cover. I'm so tired of getting behind trees as cover. Give me more rocks. Give me more ditches. Kamdesh has great ground cover. Give me more of that. Give me more. Give me more of that ground cover. I need more of that because a lot of Squad maps right now, Gordok, Belaya, Yeho actually has decent amount of ground cover, but there's still large open fields. Give me more of that ground cover. I need more of that. I need more of that in Squad. Because, like, when you're running half the time, not more than half the time, like 85% of the time, the only thing you can get behind is a fucking tree. And I need more than that. Updated Kohat, added new main bases, new and improved foliage. So, huge main bases now on Kohat. They teased this, I think, maybe 4 months ago in the that recap. So, if you want to go back all the way to that recap, you can take a look at those new bases. New and improved foliage, good. Kohat was looking a little outdated. They hadn't really done a pass on it. Actually, let me think. No, they did a pass on it last patch, but it's really open. So I don't know what new and improved foliage is. We're going to have to see what that is. I don't think we've seen too many teasers on this new and improved foliage. Updated Gordok, updated some points of interest, improved foliage. I need to see this more ground cover added in these update Kohat, update Gordok. Let me copy paste this over here and then see that in game. Updated Fool's Road. Okay. I haven't played on Fool's Road in forever now that I think about it. Updated lighting on various maps. Please tell me Amestia is updated because that dark shadow thing is driving me nuts. Updated all maps with a greater improved water shader. Good. Updated all maps with okay, grass. All right, well, that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, a lot to cover. I'll leave the links if you want to read through it on your own, the earlier points. But yeah, I mean, like V12 patch notes. I went over them. There's a lot to go over, a lot to digest, so go take a look at it. A lot optimization shit, especially as far as the server-side optimization and then the world map draw optimization. The command menu screen, obviously very helpful for squad leaders. Fireteam is going to help organization and maneuverability and control. This is going to alter meta a lot. The vehicle resistance on certain materials. Vehicle override is okay. New vehicles in V12, right? The APC and the 2 main battle tanks. The FAL, new map to Lille outskirts. Awesome. A lot of cool stuff coming to V12 and a lot of gameplay changes, right? We got that random AAS. We got the suppression system. We got a new ammo system entirely. Fire teams are added. We have, what was the last thing here? We have new spawn systems, right? So it's going to be really, a really big change. Because I think the last big change that really changed Squad was probably going to be, the the animations. The animation system was like the last big thing that like changed how squad felt and played. But now with the suppression system and all this other stuff, oh boy, V12 is gonna be a fresh breath of air. I gotta tell you, I can't wait. So hopefully 2 to 4 weeks. That's my guess, especially with these patch notes dropping this soon. I say 2 to 4 weeks because there haven't been any public testing yet, and usually they do public testing, but they're comfortable enough dropping the patch notes. So that's my guess on it. I knew last time I said 3 weeks, but apparently with that vacation that they took a little longer. But yeah, that's my take on these patch notes, guys. Once again, sorry for being a little bit under the weather, but I just had to push this exciting recap out for you boys, and I'll see you in the next video.